Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Erin On-Demand. I'm Erin and I will be sharing my experiences with you as an Illinois notary. Let's get started. So today we're going to break down the Illinois Jesse White Notary Handbook. Let's talk about geographical jurisdiction. Did you know as an Illinois notary, you can perform in all 102 counties? Yes, and I only service 6. There are 102 counties. I didn't even know that until I started to read this, and I quote, "Courts and public officials may require that a certificate of authority be attached to a document that is being notarized. This confirms that an individual was appointed and commissioned notary public for the state of Illinois on the date of notarization." When doing notary presentments, you will need, amongst other forms, you will need to have a cert of authority. So you will need that. Say if I had to notarize a paper for my mother or my sister, did you know I didn't have to look at their identification because I know them? According to the Jesse White Illinois Notary Handbook, and I quote, "A notary public must positively identify the person requesting notarization. A notary must have positive identification of this person." So let's break down what a positive identification consists of. A, if a person is personally known to the notary. That can be positive identification. I didn't know that. My sister did, but I didn't know that. Wow, so if I've known you for 10 years or 20 years, I don't have to see your ID because I know you. That was interesting to me. Let's continue. The Illinois General Assembly. Now, the handbook is great. That's what we're supposed to go by, but it's not law. This here states what law we are to go by according to what we are prohibited to do. Well, where do you find the Illinois notary laws? The Illinois General Assembly. The General Assembly is like the Constitution times 1,000. And it includes the Constitution of the United States. Every law, every executive order, every legislation, everything, anything you can think of under the Illinois sun is within the Illinois General Assembly. I will put the link in the description box below so that you can take a look at that. Also, this link will briefly, the law prohibits a notary public shall not take acknowledgement of any person who is blind until the notary has read the instrument to such person. So with notary jargon, okay, an instrument is a document. So as we just read, one of the things under this law, which you're going to read about in the Illinois General Assembly, says that you cannot notarize anything for anyone who's blind unless you read what is on the document to that person. A notary public shall not take an acknowledgement of a person who does not speak or understand the English language unless the nature and effect of the instrument to be notarized is translated. I would hope that would be common to know that and to understand that you're not supposed to notarize anything in a different language unless it's being translated. Also, according to the Secretary of State, if something is in a different language and you're notarizing it, you don't have to know what's on that document. It can be in a different language. You don't have to know what it is because you don't need to be reading it. According to the Secretary of State, you do not have to know what's on that document. All you're doing is acknowledging their signature. Now, if they can't read what's on that paper, then it has to be translated to them. But if they're bringing you a foreign document, You don't have to know what's on the document, and it doesn't have to be translated. You're just acknowledging their signature. I thought that was very interesting. I thought it was very interesting. A notary public shall not perform any notarial act when his or her commission is suspended or revoked. So in the state of Illinois, our terms are for 4 years. So if you get your commission and you get into trouble, and now you have something on your record, and your commission either gets revoked or suspended, do not use your seal. Notaries have gone to jail, will go to jail if you do that. If you do that, that's not good for you, unless you want to be a criminal. Okay, let's continue. This was so important when I read this. This was so important. This next one was very important. It says, a notary is not a notorio publico. If I said that right, hopefully I said that right. A notary public is not a notorio publico. Now I would think notary is notorio and public is publico. So a notary public in Illinois, I would think, would be a norito publico, but it's not. In Mexico and other Spanish-speaking countries, a notorio publico is a trained attorney with special expertise. Did not know that. Who would know that unless you're reading? And this is not in the handbook, okay? This is in the Illinois General Assembly under notary. So, you know, it's good to read. And that's why I'm always pressing read. Keep yourself abreast and knowledgeable of the laws and provisions that we can and can't do. A Mexican notorio can therefore give legal advice and prepare legal forms. And that's something that we as notaries cannot do. We're not able to give legal advice, and we are not able to generate any legal documents. We can notarize them, and we can read to a person what something is saying, but we cannot give legal advice. We just have to tell them where to go to get that advice. So I thought that that was very interesting and important. And when you read the Illinois, okay, there's something else that was so interesting in this handbook. So I'm quoting. It says, "It is not the notary's function to determine what type of notarial act is required with regard to a request." So an example, I want to give my mom power of attorney to act in my name. Do I need a power of attorney for this? So if I want to give my mom power of attorney to act in my name, like say if I'm not a notary and I want to give her that, if I ask another notary, do I need a power of attorney for this? Don't answer them. You could say, hey, a power of attorney does this, an acknowledgement does this, an oath does this. So you can tell them what each document is, but that's different. It's a fine line. That's a fine line. There's a difference between telling them what a document is, because that's public knowledge. There's a difference between that and telling them this is what you need. This is what you need. That's different. So we're not allowed to do that. I thought that was really interesting also. It's not your duty to do that. And I wrote here in my notes, there are no gray areas or anywhere that in this handbook that is going to set you up to fail. So it's black and white. It's right here. There's no gray. Read it and go exactly by what it says. I think if you have any questions, I call the Secretary of State all the time. I am calling them all the time, and for the most part, excluding notary presentment, they actually know what they're talking about. When I called this one lady, and she said, "Oh no, I don't think we can do that in Illinois." By the time she called me back, I was already telling her I was calling for this reason, but this is what I found out, and we can operate. And I have the law, I have the provision, and so forth. So for the most part, I think if you contact the Secretary of State, they are pretty knowledgeable. You also have to be knowledgeable, because if the wrong person answers your call, they may not be knowledgeable of the law. They may not be. So it's always good to brush up for yourself. You know, read. So important. So I hope this helps you guys. This information was so interesting to me. Tell me, what was your most interesting part about what I read to you today, what I brought to you today, and let me know, do you have any questions? Read the General Assembly, and if you have any questions, I would call the Secretary of State. If I can answer any of them, I will. Thank you so much for joining me. Erin OnD-mand, until my next video. Bye.